Hey, it's Mike Wickett. Thanks for checking out this mini podcast of Wickett's World. Just a couple of hours after the Iowa Hawkeyes lost in the Big Ten semifinal to Illinois. And that's what this one is going to be all about. The Iowa Hawkeyes and what that loss actually means in terms of this team going forward. It's Saturday. I've cracked a beer. So let's talk about the Iowa Hawkeyes here for a second. Losers in the Big Ten semifinal. And normally I'm not one of these people who comes on the radio or does a podcast and says, well, everything's great, everything is fine. I was okay. You know, that's not a terrible end result for the Iowa Hawkeyes, for the Hawkeye faithful. I mean, you came into the Big Ten tournament, and it looked like this. Iowa's a 2-seed. Lenardi, Palm, everybody's got them as a 2-seed. And that's where you're at right now. They weren't falling off that 2-seed. Even if they would have lost to Wisconsin on Friday, they weren't going to lose that 2-seed. They weren't going to lose the 2-seed if they lost to Illinois. The only thing that could have happened, and some goofy stuff had to happen, like Baylor did lose in the Big 12 tournament, and Michigan lost in their semifinal, and had Iowa run the table, I said on Friday, you know, if Iowa runs the table and some of these goofy things happen, maybe you could argue or listen to an argument about Iowa as a number 1 seed. But that didn't happen. They lose to Illinois, and they wind up, I'm telling you, they're going to be a 2-seed. There's no worry, no fret, nothing like that. And the cool thing about the NCAA tournament this year, or weird thing about the NCAA tournament this year, you're not going to be like, oh, are they going out west? Are they playing in the Midwest? Are they playing down south? Are they being shipped off east? No, none of that matters. It's all in the state of Indiana. So you don't have to worry about any of that. This game against Illinois, well, let me back up. The game against Wisconsin on Friday, Iowa shot horrendously in the first half. They did benefit from the fact that Wisconsin went like 9 minutes without hitting a bucket in the second half, late in the back end of that second half. I was a little surprised Wieskamp actually played on Friday night. Again, it goes to the mindset or my thinking, no matter what happened in the Big Ten tournament, this Iowa squad was going to be a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. And risking Wieskamp in that ankle to me, or rushing him back, seemed like a bad move, seemed like a risk I wouldn't have taken, because they could have beat Wisconsin without him. And even if they lost to Wisconsin, they're still a 2 seed in my mind. Maybe Fran didn't feel that way. Maybe the coaching staff didn't feel that way. Maybe Wieskamp didn't feel that way. But they beat Wisconsin, move on to Illinois. I have said it for weeks. And it was very apparent the last time they played Illinois. It's very apparent when they play against teams who are athletic at the wing. That is the weakness for Iowa. They are not an athletic team. You know, they can pick up intensity, they can be scrappy, whatever. Iowa is not built to beat Illinois the way that this roster is currently constructed. Illinois is a terrible matchup for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And any team they see in the NCAA tournament will, at least the first round, probably the second round, won't have that kind of athleticism at the guards and small forward spot. So that is some solace to take out of that loss. Illinois is great. Maybe we didn't know Illinois was great 2 months ago, but at full strength, with the big man down low, the guard play, those wings, Illinois is a tremendous basketball team. Man, the Big Ten is so loaded. And I got to imagine Iowa, even after losing, and maybe Iowa fan feels this way, you get a day off. You get an extra day off. You weren't going to win the Big Ten. I mean, if you won the Big Ten tournament, again, you probably weren't going to move up the line to a 1. You won a game. You're going to stay as a 2. You get an extra day off. Wieskamp gets an extra day off. You don't have to worry about any of that. Everybody can rest up to play in the big dance coming up next week, which is totally fine. And you got to give props to Iowa for what they did. They had a gauntlet down the stretch. They beat Wisconsin. They went to Sparty and won, which I still don't know if that's a great win. I didn't think it was, and then it was, and then it wasn't. I don't know. They beat Ohio State. They got pummeled by Michigan, but overall, they managed the toughest stretch in the country pretty darn well down the stretch, getting to the Big Ten tournament. So props to Iowa for that. They're number 1 in KenPom. They're number 1 in assist-to-turnover ratio, the most efficient offense in college basketball. Confidently, I can tell you that when I write my bracket, when I fill out my bracket, I'm putting Iowa into the Sweet 16 regardless of matchup. Okay, maybe I'll check and see how the guards and wings are for that 15 seed that they may see. But we'll get to that. We will definitely have, obviously, more of a podcast coming your way when we know the fate of the Iowa Hawkeyes, who they are going to play, and the rest of the NCAA tournament. A reminder, we've got great prizes, including an Iowa basketball jersey and a Drake bobblehead to give away if you sign up to play our bracket contest at ESPNDesMoines.com. So make sure you do that. Check out more at ESPNDesMoines.com. Got podcasts and blogs and all that kind of cool stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Mike Wickett. But Iowa fan, you should feel pretty darn good. You're going to get that 2 seed. You went into the NCAA. Check that. You're going to get the 2 seed you went into the Big Ten tournament holding on to. You're still holding on to it. And now we'll find out where the chips are going to fall. So thanks for checking out this mini podcast of Wickett's World. My name is Mike Wickett for 1350 ESPN.